make my dreams reality. And with change I think we can't make it, and our souls I think can't take it. I'm just trying to make you shout out, make this whole world sound out. We open our eyes, yeah. Beautiful sunrise rays on my head. Yesterday's gone, today is my friend. The new moon still shines in the clear sky. Oh, open my eyes, make my dreams reality. And with change I think we can make it, and our souls I think can't take it. I'm just trying to make you shout out, make this whole world sound out. We open our eyes, yeah. Trying to have faith, blue skies ahead. Keep my thoughts clear with no fear. Life can be good if I lose these blues. Whoa, we open our eyes, make our dreams reality, yeah. And with change I think we can make it, and our souls I think can't take it. I'm just trying to make you shout out, make this whole world sound out. We open our eyes, yeah. The new moon still shines in the clear sky. Oh, we open our eyes, make our dreams reality. Yeah, and with change I think we can't make it, and our souls I think can't take it. I'm just trying to make you shout out, make this whole world sound out. We open our eyes, yeah. We open our eyes, make our dreams reality. And with change I think we can make it, and our souls I think can't take it. I'm just trying to make you shout out, make this whole world sound out. We open our eyes, yeah. We open our eyes, yeah. Come on, open our eyes, yeah. One more time, we open our eyes.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver's Sunday service. We are a loving, prosperous community in the heart of Capitol Hill, and now online. And yes, we will continue to meet online until further notice. This week, we're continuing to count our blessings, and one of our many blessings are all of you. those who choose to get up on Sunday morning to join our service, as well as those who choose to watch us during the week. Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Reverend Elzia, and all our practitioners, our music and service coordinators, want you all to know how truly grateful we are for the online support that you have given us. Thank you for watching our Sunday services, taking our online workshops and events, and providing financial support so that we can keep our virtual doors open. We love you all and know that we'll be seeing you in person in the right and perfect time. And one of the ways we can do that is our virtual Zoom fellowship. This week, we're having a Zoom virtual fellowship right after service. Please send an email to info@csldenver.org to request a Zoom invitation. And if you're interested, please sign up for our newsletter. This is once a week, one email per week, and we share our upcoming events, information about our services, and any information about returning to in-person services as well. Sign up today over at our website, csldenver.org, or send an email to info@csldenver.org and request to be put on the newsletter list. Science of Mind magazine continues to offer its limited time special for CSL member communities. If you purchase a 12-month Science of Mind digital subscription for only $14.95 before December 31st and use our promo code X000025, then the Centers for Spiritual Living will send $5 back to the CSL Denver for every subscription we receive. And hey, our friend Reverend Robert is offering a unique visioning experience throughout the New Year weekend. Send an email to info@ntmedia.org to request more information, and we'll make sure that you get all the details. All right, that's everything for today. Let's get back over to the music with Freddie Rodriguez Jr.
When we walk in the light, we'll walk with God. With God we'll walk close, we won't lose sight of His love. You are the light, so shine before all, that all can see the good of it all. 'Cause in the light is truth, pure and beautiful. Open your eyes and open your soul. I can see the light shining down on me, brings me hope and love forever. I can see the light shining down on me, brings me hope and love forever. Take the highest road with all you can be, and if it's cloudy you'll be able to see. Shine on like the sun, and all will be bright if we join as one. 'Cause in the light is truth, pure and beautiful. So open your eyes and open your soul. I can see the light shining down on me, brings me home with love forever, ever, ever, ever. I can see the light shining down on me, brings me home with love forever.
Good morning. I invite you to join with me in our opening invocation. So if you wish, please sit back and take a deep breath. And just breathe in, knowing the truth of who each and every one of us is. And we are in a space and a place that we have created for this time that is always there, knowing that Spirit is always living, moving, and breathing our lives. And so as we move into this service, we know that this service is blessed, that the words of Reverend Elzia, the music of Freddie, the practitioner words by me, all is the truth of who each of and every one of us is. And so this time and this place is blessed, as is our world, as is our what we are living in today, knowing that we are always held in that truth and that love and that comfort by Spirit. So as we move into this service, we know that it's blessed, and we know that each and every person who has chosen to be here this morning is blessed. And I am so grateful for CSL Denver. I am so grateful for Reverend Elzia. I am so grateful for all who make this service happen. And so from that place of deep, deep gratitude, I release this knowing that all is well, and it is so, and so it is. And so our reading this morning is about the shadow. And so Dr. Carl Jung coined the term shadow to refer to the area of the unconscious mind, which is outside the light of awareness. The shadow is what psychologists refer to as the personal unconscious. It's the part of us that's a blind spot outside of our awareness. Meeting your shadow can be shocking at first. That's not me. I'm not like that. You meet the shadow when your unconscious mind sabotages your conscious intentions. You know that the shadow has appeared when you feel angry, powerless, invisible, envious, greedy, anxious, depressed, out of control, and you say or do something impulsive or self-destructive, then feel guilty or ashamed afterward. At those times, you are meeting an unacceptable part of yourself. Or you may react intensely to a trait in others that you fail to see in yourself, a projection. How can she be so seductive? How dare he act like such a know-it-all? Which makes you critical and rejecting and leaves you feeling judgmental, isolated, and alone. So Romancing the Shadow, which is a book by Connie Zweig, and it's a very good book. So she says, this previously unconscious shadow is seeking the light of awareness, and it needs your help. That's when romancing your shadow begins. When you romance your shadow, you invite the shadow figure out into awareness and explore it. Who's there? What is it trying to tell you? Why did it form? What does it need? Romancing the shadow means reading the messages encoded in daily life in order to make a conscious relationship with your shadow, enhancing your authenticity, deepening your intimacy, and living a more conscious life. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, we can sit in the shade or move into the sunshine. Sitting in the shadow, we may not really believe that there is any sunshine, but the sun would be there all the time, and all the time we are in bondage, the real freedom exists. It is there, but we must awake to it. The law of mind as quickly creates one form as another for us, and we must allow the patterns of our thought to become molded from the highest sense of reality we possess. And so now back to Freddie, and he wanted me to say that he's got a new piano solo piece, and it's called Shadows into Light. And he says that the song came to him while he was sleeping. It starts out dark and shadowy and then grows lighter and happy with the rush of stars falling. Enjoy.
We are a place, a space, and a face of love. We are a spiritual community applying universal principles to enhance our lives and the lives of others. And so, first and foremost, I want to send a great big hug and thanks to Freddie Rodriguez Jr. for that tune. It was so moving and so centering and sets the stage for the theme of the month and the topic for today. The theme of the month, as we've embarked in December, is celebrating divine truth. And today, we will be looking at welcoming the shadow. Welcoming the shadow. Now, Richard Rourke, who's a minister, a priest down in Albuquerque, New Mexico, has this to say about the shadow or the human consciousness in general. He says, human consciousness does not emerge at its depth except through struggling with your shadow. Struggling with your shadow. So the point that he's making there is for us to really embrace this thing called spirituality, this thing called consciousness, this thing called awakening. It requires us to embark on this journey, a lifelong journey of embracing and welcoming the shadow. So what is the shadow? What is this thing that we hear so much about and it's written about and sung about and talked about? What exactly is it? Well, I thought the place to start would be with the person who created the term, the shadow. Now, that term was created by Dr. Carl Jung. And Dr. Jung said this: the shadow is the unconscious aspects of ourself that the ego or the personality does not identify with. So it's that aspect of ourselves that we do not want to identify with. We do not look at it as part of us. We do not look at it as something that we should be associated with. Now, and that's especially true for us on the spiritual path. Often, not always, but often, because we want to live, so to speak, in the light. We want to be in that joyous place, that place where the harps are playing, and we do not want to look at, touch, deal with anything to do with that shadowy, dark, dense part of ourselves that we have not incorporated or embraced into our life. Now, Dr. Jung says this: one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. By making the darkness conscious. You see, because there's no way to get around the shadow. If you've ever been outside on a summer day and you stood there in the sun, as the sun moved or as you moved, the reflection in size and place of the shadow just took another position. You didn't get rid of it. It just took another position as you moved around or it moved around. And so as we look at the light that is offered by the divine mind and heart of God, the question is, are we in the right position with that light? Are we in the right position with that light? Now, as we look around the world today, amidst all of the things that are going on in our personal lives or in our global lives, we recognize one thing I would suggest, that right now, the planet, the globe, and even the cosmos has a shadow problem. We have a problem of understanding and reconciling and embracing, in fact, welcoming the shadow in our lives. welcoming those places where we need to understand the dual nature of life and embrace it. You see, because if we notice, if we look at all of the creation stories, pretty much ubiquitous across all cultures, there is always this God making things in pairs, this dual nature of reality, the seen and the unseen, the shadow and the unshadowed, if you will. So as we begin to understand this shadow and begin to welcome them in our lives, we have to open up. We have to be aware of who and what we are to understand and incorporate this dual nature into our everyday life. Now, Joe Lieberman says this: what we call our shadow is nothing more than an aspect of our nature waiting to be embraced and reclaimed. Waiting to be embraced and reclaimed. Now that's interesting. That last part, reclaim, because it gives an indication that these things that we don't like, these things that we look at as being horrible or terrible, or however we define that aspect of life or ourselves, the only way to get around it, the only way to become whole again, is to reclaim it. Reclaim it. So as we go down this path of looking at this topic, there are three things that I want to point out for us to understand what it means to welcoming the shadow. First, we're going to talk about me and my shadow. Then we're going to look at how do we embrace that shadow. And last but not least, we want to know how to integrate that part of ourselves back to ourselves so that we become whole and perfect again. So first and foremost, me and my shadow. Now some of you may be familiar with that song. There was a song some time ago called "Me and My Shadow," and at its essence, it was talking about being alone and not understanding certain aspects of why that loneliness was there. Well, the first thing to understand, I think, is that everybody has one, right? You can't get away from that shadow. Everybody has a shadow. It's there. And whether we like it or not, we are in a dance with that shadow, trying to do whatever it is we're trying to do. We either trying to embrace it or stay away from it. And so we're doing this two-step dance and we're moving around trying to understand that thing called shadow. Now, at its core, the shadow is an inherent part of us. It is a part of our biological nature, and it is coupled with our experience in life that gives birth or gives light to it, if you will, to make it come about. Because as we have encounters, experiences, the shadow becomes, I guess, not available, but it becomes visible, if you will, by not embracing those so-called bad things. If we go out and we give a speech, or as you were young, we sing a song and we don't get the reaction we think we want, a shadow begins to emerge because we feel rejected and no one wants to be rejected. We want to be accepted. And so when these kinds of events happen in our life, that shadow begins to form. And so eventually all those things that we reject or don't want to have as part of ourselves or create fear or anything like that, we push it on the shadow. And eventually that shadow takes a life of its own. So when you have that dance with me and my shadow, you're actually dancing with a whole being, a part of yourself that is actually a part of you, that duality of life that you must embrace. That you must embrace. Now, I'll say a little bit more about this later, but that shadow that makes us whole has a great representation in cinema when we look at the whole saga of Star Wars. That whole idea, that whole drama, epic drama, if you will, of the Force and the dark side. The Force and the dark side, trying to understand and come into contact with that two aspects of ourselves to become whole. To become, as they say in the movie, to become that Jedi Knight, to become that Jedi warrior that at any moment in time can whip out that lightsaber, that modem of truth, that understanding of who and what we really are, and shine it forth. And shine it forth. Now, once we've understood that everybody has a shadow, and it's me and my shadow that's doing this dance every day, all day, then we move into this other part of embracing the shadow. Carl Jung said that if you find the psychic wound in an individual or a person, where you can also find their path to consciousness. For it is the healing of our psychic wounds that we come to know ourselves. It's by Robert Johnson, a great person. I feel so blessed to have had a 2-week encounter with him at a retreat. What a wonderful person he was, a personal student of Carl Jung's. And he says this, that the way to open up your consciousness, you got to embrace this shadow. You got to embrace this shadow. Because it says, Jesus says this, he who is without sin cast the first stone. He who is without sin cast the first stone, letting us know that we all have this shadow side. We all have this side of ourselves that we don't like sometimes, that we don't want to deal with, that we want to keep hidden in the background. But the way to heal it is to embrace it. That's what embrace means, as a matter of fact. Embrace means to take something and show it affection and love so that it becomes welcomed, so that it becomes a part of the whole. And once it has been embraced, all things are possible. It's like opening the doors and letting the light shine in. Because you see, in that process, we find balance. We find acceptance. We find reconciliation. And we know, as Ernest Holmes has said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And that same goes for this house called us. We cannot stand if we constantly got this battle going on. I'm sure we've all seen those cartoons where you have the one angel on one side and the other on the other side. That's that representative of light and shadow. They're going at each other. And it's only when they can be merged together and embraced that light shines ubiquitous. It opens up and shines everywhere. This is what we're striving to do when we say, are you welcoming the shadow? Are you welcoming the shadow? Now, if we go to the Bible, this is from Isaiah 9:2. This is from Isaiah 9:2. It says this: the people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in the land of the shadow of death, upon them the light will shine. Upon them the light will shine. You see, because you can't separate the light and the shadow. They're always close at hand. It's like two sides of a coin. And so as we walk through the shadow of death, these areas, not necessarily a physical death, but the death of old ideas, the death of fears, the death of incompleteness, the death of low self-esteem, anything that keeps us from rising to the apex of who we are, then know for sure that the light is close at hand. And so when we do that, we step into this place to where we embrace it. We embrace it. And so when we look at at this statement by Carl Jung here. It says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Until you can marry them up, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Now that's a heavy statement, because how many times have we got into situations or found ourselves in an experience or a condition and we saw it was fate? Hopefully not too often, but I know on occasion it does happen, because I'll be honest, I do it. I say it when I find myself in those moments where I'm not whole, where I'm not looking at both sides and knowing that it's all good, that it's all the part of us that makes us see life in its entirety. And so, as I said earlier, we're going to get back to that part from Star Wars. So when we look at Anakin Skywalker, who was the father of Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, there was this battle, if you know, that was going on between his light and dark side. And eventually, he gave in. He gave in to the shadow and did not embrace the shadow. And when that happened, he became Darth Vader. He became Darth Vader. And so we see with Luke Skywalker, that battle going on, if you will, that idea of reconciling that shadow and light side of ourselves, so that when he pulls his lightsaber, when he pulls that divine truth, which we're celebrating this month of December, the divine truth, when you are able to pull that and it lights up, you have been able to reconcile and embrace. And in fact, you have been able to integrate the shadow and the light, because you know when to pull the sword and when not to pull the sword, when to have compassion and when to show love, because we all have been in those places where we need exactly that. We fell in a shadowy place. We've gone, as they say, stark raving mad, and we're now looking for some relief, someone to embrace us. If you think back to when your children were small, or even when you were small, and you got in some situation and you were in some fit and you were crying and screaming, mother would come over and just give you a hug. She just embrace you. Turn all that shadow stuff, all that fearful stuff, and melt it into love through an embrace. And so that's how we move toward integrating this shadow, a way to become whole, a way to become perfect and complete. Now, because in this process, we understand that a shadow only happens based on your position in the light. So if the light is shining directly above you, embracing you, in totality, there is no shadow. There is no shadow, because see, you are engulfed in the light. But when you move in different perspectives and different angles to the light, now you begin to cast that shadow. And depend on your alignment with it, you have a big shadow or a small shadow. So the idea is how do we change our position to the light? How do we find ourselves in alignment with the light so that we become whole? And I would submit to you that is the charge for the coming year. Not only personally, but globally. How are we as a society dealing with our shadow? Dealing with all this underbelly stuff, this stuff that no one wants to look at, really. No one wants to take steps to embrace it and incorporate it. And I understand it's hard. Because I, be quite frankly, I'm not an expert at it yet. I'm working on it. But there are those times when we don't want to deal with the shadow. And I submit we have to integrate it individually and collectively so that we can become whole. And so So the ultimate place to be as we look for this embrace, as we look for this welcoming and understanding that we all have it, and to integrate it in our lives, we want to move to the point to where when we are transparent and in alignment with the source of light and is directly overhead, there's no way possible for a shadow to come up. Because when that light is overhead and you're transparent, beams of light will shoot out from all directions of your personality, your life, your events, your affairs, your experiences, and you will become whole. You will become complete. And that doesn't mean the shadow isn't there. It's always there. It's a part of who and what we are. But what it does become, it becomes enlightened. It becomes conscious. And when that happens, we can move with ease and grace and love ourselves, our fellow man, and create a world that is illumined by the light of the divine. So I like to close on this from Ludwig Lee, who's a Sufi, and he has this little, I don't know, paragraph. I'm not even sure what to call it, but I think it's very appropriate. It says this: any serious spiritual work brings up the shadow. The rejected parts of ourselves, our psyche, which have to be faced and accepted. It's the process of inner purification. Other spiritual paths may focus on purification through diet or yoga or good living or correcting bad behavior or habits. Our particular Sufi path has a very strong psychological element, and the perfection is analogous to Jung's shadow work, in which the rejected parts of our psyche come to the surface, be confronted, loved, and accepted. This begins the process of transformation. As Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That's our mission. That's our charge on earth in the drama called life. Are you willing to take that? Are you ready to take that? Because just like me, you're seeking to be happy. Just like me, you're trying to avoid suffering. Just like me, you don't want to be wallowed in sadness. Just like me, you want to be loved. Just like me, you were once an innocent child. And just like me, you're on a spiritual journey, looking for life, trying to find our way back to the light of wholeness. And so I like to leave you this day, this week, this year coming with this idea, this call to action. Take a personal inventory and increase your self-awareness and embrace those shadow parts and moments in your life. Now, I don't know what they are. You don't know what mine are. But I'm pretty sure you are aware of them in your life. And when you look at them in relationships to that little poem, just like me, you have these same things going on. Sadness and doubt and wanting to be loved and looking at yourself as an infant. And so when we can do that, we can be healed by welcoming and embracing the light. And so our affirmation for the day and for the week is, do not judge. I do not judge myself nor other persons. I embrace the shadow and reclaim my highest good. Let us pray. So as we just open our mind's eye and go within and allow the light to illumine all aspects of who and what we are. And as we do, we allow ourselves to become transparent. We allow ourselves to not be so hampered by or constrained by those experiences, those conditions, those acts or attitudes that we've displayed that we assume not to be of the divine. But as we understand this idea of life and pure life that is illumined in light, we understand that there are many facets. It's like light going through a diamond. There are many sparks of light that come from all places that say, we are here now. The light is here. You are here. We are able to withstand and understand all manner of discord. And so as we understand that, I know that for me and for all of you and for anyone who hears this later, I know that we are uplifted and encouraged to be all that we can be by embracing our shadow, by knowing that it is those shadowy parts that allow us to understand and really embrace the warmth of the light and the vision of the light, and allow us to release those dense and heavy things that keep us weighed down and allow us to float up into the divine. And so as we just take that on to be enlightened and to be a light and to embrace all aspects of who and what we are, we give thanks. We give thanks because I know each and every one of us has said this statement. I would not be who I am if it had not been for the things that I've gone through. And so we embrace that, knowing that it is a process of transformation that allows us to become God on earth. And so it is in that understanding of who and what we are, emanations of the Most High God, that I release this prayer, knowing that all is well, that God is good, and we are here on a divine mission, living out the drama of light to become true Jedi warriors, Jedi knights, to be able to shine the truth of the divine in all things, in all places. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Woo. I'm so glad you were here with me. I hope I didn't get carried away. I just love this topic. And so thank you. And so now it's that time for us to share some of our light, our financial light, with the Center of Spiritual Delivering. And we are so grateful and blessed that everyone here is supporting us and keeping us moving and alive as a community. And whether this is your first time or you're a regular member, thank you. And if you notice at the bottom of the screen, there's a ticker running that talks about how you can give and support. Right now, there are many ways you can support us. You can support us with a credit card by texting 844-454-0918 and text give an amount that you want to give. You can also go to our website, www.csldenver.org, and there's a donate button that you can select and you can give there, or you can send a check or money order to CSL Denver, P.O. Box 300416, Denver, Colorado 80203. And so whatever way is comfortable for you to give, please give. Whatever amount that you give, please give. And if it's only a prayer, we'll accept prayers as well, because we need that deposited, that energy that allows us to shine. And so if you will take that tithe or that intention and place your hand over your heart and repeat after me our customary offering affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Z. Awesome talk. So, If you have some shadow work that you would like to work on, please know that our practitioners are available for prayer work and to work with you. And we would love to pray with you and work with you if you so choose. And our names and phone numbers are on our website at www.csldenver.org. And as we mentioned at the beginning of our service, our virtual fellowship via Zoom is right after service today. And I've emailed out an updated Zoom invitation to people who have previously attended. But if you didn't receive the invitation this morning, please send an email to info@csldenver.org mentioning fellowship, and I will send you an invitation. We would love for you to join us and catch up with each other and see how we're all doing. And as we also mentioned earlier, that Home Office is offering the Science of Mind magazine digital subscription. And so if you so choose, and you want a digital subscription of the Science of Mind magazine for only $14.95 each by December 31st, 2020, use the promotion code XOO0025 when you sign up, and Center for Spiritual Living Denver will receive $5 back for your subscription, and you can order as many as you wish. And as we also mentioned, Reverend Robert is having a New Year Visioning Retreat the weekend of New Year's, and information will come up on that. Or if you want more information, you can email at info@ntmedia.org, and you will get more information. So meanwhile, have a wonderful week. We love you, we miss you, and we hope to see you soon in person for hugs. And we will have Freddie Rodriguez Jr. Play us out. Thank you.
Feel the star.
Stop.